Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today you are going to be seeing one of, if not my most embarrassing games of all time. Just why it's going to be so embarrassing, I'm not going to spoil it, you're just going to have to wait and see. Until then, you've got the pleasure of me playing at least reasonably well in the newly nerfed Tier 9 Soviet medium tank, the Object 430. Now, this vehicle was probably the most powerful medium tank tier for tier in the game. It was achieving the best win ratio of any tier 9 medium vehicle. Why is that? A lot of people will say immediately in the comments, I can imagine it, because it's Soviet, it's Soviet, it's Soviet. Yeah, it's kind of true, actually. It used to be a tier 10 tank. They dumped it down to tier 9. It's got great armor, 390 alpha, enough penetration to be able to deal with whatever it has to. And also, the vehicle pretty much comes elite right from the get-go because its stock turret is the only turret and its stock gun is the only gun. And so people don't even have to faff really unlocking many modules on this vehicle. And so that means this tank is just so darn dominant. When you see it in the game, it's not sometimes going to be stock, it's not sometimes going to be undergunned, it's not sometimes going to have less view range and less turret armor. And obviously that does increase the average win rate a little bit, and it's something you've got to take into account when you look at the statistics of this vehicle. One of the reasons why it does have one of the best win ratios at tier 9 medium is because obviously there aren't people having to grind its stock. So when you think about it, that will artificially increase the win ratio a little bit because there won't be those players out there getting 30% wins, 40% wins, grinding and grinding and grinding just to be able to get the vehicle fully unlocked. But still, even when the vehicle is elite and all of the other vehicles it's competing with are elite as well, it's just an absolute tour de force on the battlefield. It's just got DPM. I don't need to go over what it has. I can't really even mention anything that it doesn't have. I guess the only thing that it really doesn't have would be gun depression. That's it. You're limited to 5 degrees of gun depression. But when you do get yourself into a matchup like this, you can really do some amazing things with its 120mm of incredibly well-angled frontal armor and 248mm of turret armor. So when I'm playing in a game like this on Paris and I see 3 artillery on the enemy team, the last thing that I want to do is to hang back. I got 2 choices. One is to advance along the south, or one is to advance along the north. And I love making the rush that you see along the northern flank to get into the position that I was using to handle the Type 61. If I'm a dominant tank in a dominant matchup, more often than not it's going to lead to breaking the stalemate. How many of you have played the Paris map? And usually it's just players sitting back and trying to shoot across at each other or even try and blind fire or get any kind of vision towards the enemy team. Usually artillery will manage to counter battery a self-propelled gun on the enemy team. Sometimes the light tanks will make a bold rush across, hope that they don't get smashed out by the TDs. Really, the north feels like it's a bit of a campfest, which is why I always try to turn on the pressure on the northern flank. You see, I actually stop there and I take a look at the gun of the T-29. Do you think we found one of those fabled 76mm T-29s? Now, I actually contacted the player in the post-game stats. You'll kind of see later on why. And asked if they were using the 76mm, but no, they were telling me they were using the 90mm, so I'd like to apologize to you, O.D. Nelson, for thinking that you were undergunned in the Tier 7 American heavy tank. Alright, so it was really unfortunate that I lost my gunner just so many times in this battle to the enemy's self-propelled guns, and it's really slowed down my damage per minute. This combined with the nerf that the vehicle received to its dispersion values, and yeah, the gun handling doesn't feel very great now. Its dispersion values are actually nerfed by pretty much about 20%. And so that's the equivalent of Wargaming kind of removing the vertical stabilizers from this vehicle, even if you are using a vertical stabilizer. And look at that, dead gunner while stunned. That felt like that was almost artillery level aim time there. But luckily, we do get revenge on the S-51, and it feels like I've only lost hit points to artillery so far. So I blind fire up into the Scorpion. Unfortunately for me, the Scorpion manages to shut down the CS-53 on our team, and I'm just trying to put pressure up on the enemy team. I'm trying to grind them out, because to all intents and purposes right now, they could start capping, and if they start capping, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Okay, now that we've got our gunner back in the game for what feels like the first time since the start of the battle, you can see, yeah, this vehicle is actually not too inaccurate. Its base accuracy is rather poor at 0.42, but at these kind of distances, you can make 0.42 work, especially against tanks that are 2 tiers your junior. Alright, so I've kind of managed to make the T-29 back off, I put some pressure on the Scorpion and the T-44, but what I cannot let happen is these 2 tier 9 tanks. My nemesis, or multiple nemesis on the enemy team here. You can't really have multiple nemesis because I think the whole point of it is meant to be the only one that keeps you back. But when it comes down to both of these tier 9 Soviet vehicles, I think they both are going to be causing me a lot of issues. So I had to pull back from that corner. I have to leave my T-29 and my CS-53 to try and handle it, possibly with the flanking play from the Lorraine there, and stop these tier 9 Soviet vehicles from crossing the field freely. Alright, so I'm done firing standard ammunition now. We're going to be loading some gold there, but unfortunately we don't manage to go through the 257 on the enemy team. This 430 makes a huge mistake, and I jumped for joy at that penetrating shot that obviously destroyed the enemy's fuel tanks, and that is huge. Unfortunately for me, I take damage here from the 257. I feel like I've got the better rate of fire than the player, and hopefully I'm going to be able to put one right through the upper hull, but unfortunately it looks like I choked the shot. The shell goes slightly low, I don't track the tank, and also I don't even damage the vehicle. But luckily it looks like the S1 does damage the vehicle for me. Actually, no, I do damage the vehicle. I did do 441 damage to the 257, or maybe that was my previous shot. Anyway, I'm going to have to let that go, and you probably know better than me. You can already see that's probably my most embarrassing commentary, but to be able to shut down the 257 there and pick up 6 kills, oh yeah, feeling good. Just a Lanson on 37 hit points. I'm feeling pretty chipper about this game. 5,000 damage, 1,300 spotting. I don't have the best possible crew on this vehicle, although as you can see I am using a premium consumable which will elevate my crew's skill by 10%. Definitely still one of the true pay-to-win aspects of World of Tanks are the premium consumables on your vehicles. Something which I don't use at all on my free-to-play account. But you know, when I'm playing on my main account, I don't have any tanks left to unlock. I don't really have too much to spend credits on these days apart from crew training. So of course I'm going to be investing it as much as possible inside those premium consumables. One passing mention should be made to the fact that there is actually a consumable sale right now on the European server. And so if you're watching this video as it's released, go and pre-buy consumables. You can actually go into the store and buy loads of them right now while they're 50% off, and then use them over the next few weeks, over the next few months. And every time you use a consumable, you will be effectively saving yourself 50%. So you don't have to just be buying premium consumables. You could be buying regular consumables. You could be buying small repair kits, small med kits. They do add up. Every time you use one, if you buy it at full price, that's 3,000 credits. You can't really get through a game of World of Tanks without using a repair kit and a med kit these days. So that's 6,000 credits a pop. So if you go and pre-buy 100 of them, then you'll be saving yourself 150,000 credits over the next few weeks. And if, like me, you're going to go buy 1,000 of them, then that could be up to 1.5 million credits per consumable that you've bought the 1,000 for. So go do it now. I always forget. You'll actually be able to do it on Monday as well, I believe, unless Wargaming decide to change the duration of the sale. Anyway, let's focus back on the question at hand, which is that I want to shut down this Lanson. Now, you might be thinking, like, hold on, is this just a clickbait title? When's the embarrassing thing going to happen? Yeah, just wait for it. Trust me, it's going to be a bit of a shocker as to what is about to occur. I am completely confused in my mind as to where I am going and what I am trying to achieve at this stage. I'm not going to spoil it. Let's move on. So right now, this Lanson is in a 1 versus 3 situation against a higher tier tank and 2 equal tier tanks on no hit points. And oh my word, absolute sterling play here by the Lanson to shut down the CS-53. And because that CS-53 went so far ahead, I'm not actually going to be able to get a shot here on the Lanson. And watch this player nearly completely outplays me there. Luckily, I had the thought, wow, is he in the bush right now and he can actually see me and I can't see him? And that was exactly the case. The player was sitting in the trees, you can see just around that corner, and I didn't even know about this position. I didn't know you could knock down the tree this way to be able to actually shoot through here. That was an amazing play by the Lanson. They're doing a really good job so far of trying to get through this 1 versus 3. And I could have very easily died there. Luckily, I figured out that he was there before my sixth sense even went off, and I pulled back and I was able to bounce his premium round off the front of my hull. So now you'll notice I'm saying cap. I say cap again. I say cap for the 3rd time. Start Cap, I say. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I thought that the Stridsvagn S1 on my team was just sitting outside the cap circle. I'm so confused right now, I don't even know. That's right. This is my cap circle! What are you doing, you absolute potato? I thought this was my cap circle, and if you look at the minimap, I thought that the S1 was just sitting right outside it. Yes. Oh my word. A sudden rush of poop to the brain, ladies and gents. The reason why this has happened is because, obviously, we attacked along here, but then we turned round and we attacked this way. And because the whole of the map had been turned around on itself and the enemies were approaching from this direction, I just thought they were approaching from their base. And so right now, I'm still sitting there again. Cap, cap, cap.
Oh my lord.
Now, I was streaming at the time, but in these kind of situations, I don't like to read the chat too much. Sometimes because, for all I know, there might be someone on the enemy team who might be trying to give me a bit of a tip. But I think the main reason would be that I just don't want to get distracted in this scenario. And so now it dawns on me, oh my god, that's not my base. And so I realize that's not the enemy base. And so I decide, let's go push out right now. And look where I'm aiming, look where I'm aiming, look where I'm aiming, and look where I'm aiming. That's where the Lancen's got to be, right? Yeah, he's going to be up there. There's not much I can do about it. Oh my lord. The Lancen on the enemy team. Majstor Brzezin, you are doing a fantastic job, sir, of completely owning me, picking up a top gun and getting yourself back into this situation. Will the Lancen be able to win this 1 versus 3? Well, it's looking like that's the case. Unless maybe he low rolls on the S1, as the S1 does have 305 hit points and the tier 8 Swedish medium tank has that 105mm gun with 320 alpha damage as well. So he's going to be able to one-shot the S1 pretty much half the time. Can you believe it? Right now, I was sitting there probably with my face in my hands, wondering whether it was time to stop playing and go to bed. Although, actually, this was pretty much right at the start of the day, so I don't think I could really be doing that. I think it was early on in the evening, far too early on in the evening for me to be absolutely confused as to what was going on. With 2 minutes left on the game, there's no way that the S1 is going to be able to cap at this stage, but as you can see, the Lancen actually appears, and unfortunately for him, the S1 shuts him down. Fortunately for me, of course, because, oh my word, if I'd lost this one and the Lancen had managed to pick up this victory, I would have felt like the biggest potato ever. I'm already a gigantic potato, but at least it softens the blow just a little bit. So the first thing that I did immediately after the game was contact the S1 that I was playing with and tell him exactly, hey, thanks for winning that game. My brain stopped working. I thought our cap circle was theirs. WTF. I need a holiday. I can't even English. I was so embarrassed afterwards. Yeah, pretty basic stuff. Even remembering which cap circle is yours. Kind of one of the things that you should probably do in World of Tanks. I think I'm going to have to remember that one when I'm kind of berating some players for making really stupid mistakes, because I definitely made one in this game. Nevertheless, it was still an ace tanker for the Object 430. We get 1,456 experience, base experience, with nearly 6,000 damage dealt, giving us the high caliber. And this was a really fun game because we get a Confederate medal, which means that we damaged 6 tanks, which was subsequently killed by our allies, in addition to the Top Gun, which means that we must have damaged or killed at least 12 tanks in this battle. But commiserations to the Lancen on the enemy team. They did 4,400 damage. They got a Top Gun as well. Clearly a great player. Outplayed me. I got very lucky that I ricocheted the first shell, let alone that they also killed me from getting into position. And my brain just absolutely baffled itself. So I really feel like the Lancen actually deserved to win this game. But then again, the S1, the faithful S1 in cap, did manage to take it down. So I was happy about that. Saved face just a little bit, but I'm not going to try and hide this one from all of you on YouTube. Apart from, obviously, the tremendous fail hopefully you got to all see that the 430 is still absolutely incredible, especially in a matchup like this. You can't go wrong when you're a low profile, sneaky, fairly mobile, high DPM, great pen, elite tank right from the get-go, almost as if it's a reward vehicle, right? It's a fabulous tank, and even with the nerf, it's still an absolute powerhouse. So, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you hated it, give it a thumbs down, and let me know what was your most embarrassing World of Tanks moment. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Sunday, it's time for the World of Tanks Tank Tree Showcase right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And this week, I think some of you might be trolling me a little bit because you voted for the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, the Tier 10 German light tank, which is the worst Tier 10 tank in the game statistically. It is the only vehicle that drops below 48% wins, let alone 47% wins, with an average win ratio of 46.61 on the European server. Yeah, so come along as I'm going to try and make it work tonight and showcase all of the German light tanks. There are a few hidden gems along the way. I'll try and highlight them for you. Or maybe you just want to come along and see me struggle, not only mentally in this YouTube video, but also, I guess, embarrassing myself in the worst tier 10 tank in the game. Should be fun anyway, so I really hope to see all of you there right now. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.